David Ruffin would join the Temptations in 1964. Though he wasn't responsible for leading on their first hit single, that being Eddie Kendrick's, he would lead on their first #1 single, My Girl. And from 1965 until 1968, he would either lead or co-lead on 11 top 20 singles. But as the Temptations grew, so too did David Ruffin's ego. Beginning his tenure as humble, funny, and a hard worker, he would eventually evolve into a selfish, arrogant member that left a wave of chaos in his wake. Adding to his new attitude was his insistence on keeping groupies and hangers-on around his entourage and a new nifty friend called cocaine. Some of David Ruffin's antics while he was a member of the Temptations were legendary. Like the time that he attempted to drive his motorcycle inside of Paul Williams' home, or the time he got into a fight with Eddie Kendricks that was so bad, the entire group was banned from Bermuda, and the time where he would hit Tammy Terrell, one of his many girlfriends, with a motorcycle helmet. David Ruffin was one of the greatest niggas to ever nigga in the history of niggatry, being late to rehearsals, interviews, and shows. A lot. And seriously demanding that the group change its name to David Ruffin and the Temptations, wanting to be billed in the same vein as Diana Ross and the Supremes. This was especially problematic because even though he did lead on many of their hits, he was not the lead singer. 3 of the 5 members of the Temptations would trade leads regularly, and giving him top billing would immediately diminish their contributions. Ruffin would often state that the group could not survive without him, but from the perspective of Motown founder Berry Gordy, it was actually the opposite. He believed that the group could not go on with David Ruffin because he would kill it through his ego. They decided to keep David and not pull the trigger unless they absolutely had to. And that day would come on June 22nd, 1968. The Temptations had a show in Cleveland, Ohio that night, and David would have one of his flunkies go to the show and inform them that he would not be coming, deciding to go to the performance of one of his girlfriends, Barbara Martin, Dean Martin's daughter. As the Cleveland show was nearing its end, he would suddenly make a surprise entrance and upstage his group, getting a standing ovation. After this incident, they would collectively decide to fire David Ruffin from the Temptations, calling a mandatory meeting on June 27th, of which David was late to give him the news via telegram. After reading this letter in front of the group, David's emotions would shift from laughter to shock to anger to asking for a second chance, and then finally accepting his fate. Ruffin would eventually be replaced by Dennis Edwards, but his relationships with the Temptations after being kicked out was far from over.